Good one!
What's up, everybody? Today we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Venom 2 Deluxe Carnage, and here's just a quick look at the packaging. It looks pretty fire, and to be honest, this packaging is pretty great, and I'm excited that Marvel Legends finally put out this figure, because I've just been wanting to see how cool it actually is, and, you know, if they were actually ever going to do one. So let's take a look right at the box. So just looking at the packaging here, it's pretty nice. It has like a kind of like matte finish with the black and everything, and there's some glossy areas to it. But for the most part, it's this kind of gloss. Matte finish, kind of like how the Deadpool box was. But you got the Venom Let There Be Carnage logo there, Marvel's Carnage right there. And you got a very nice matte finish on it. You got a very nice glossy high-res image of Carnage right there on the side. And on the back, you got the probably the best, picture of Venom and Carnage, fighting each other. And honestly, I really do love this picture, and it's in gloss too, so it just looks really nice. But yeah, there's nothing too much going on in the back. And of course, looking at the side here, it's just there's not much going on. The top, it just says Venom Let There Be Carnage, and of course the bottom is just really nothing, but you do have the window for the figure. Now, straight out of the box, you will get two kind of plastic trays here. You do have the one tray, which does have the figure in it, and you do get the, the back tray, which has kind of the tentacle pieces and everything, so you will get two trays. Now, you do get this kind of insert in the box, too, so while technically it's not supposed to be a backdrop, you can technically use it for one, and I might not. It's pretty cool. But oh man, here is the figure itself. So just going over the detail and sculpt, to be honest, this thing looks crazy good. And to be honest, when I heard Hasbro was making this figure and they did reveal the picture and everything, I thought it was kind of gonna be ass. But now getting this figure in hand and taking a look at it, and I mean, we're just going to bring in the figure here to kind of look at these details and everything. But I know there was a leaked Venom versus Carnage 2-pack, and then there was obviously the retro, like a carded Carnage. But I didn't think they were going to do a movie Carnage. I still don't know if they're going to do a Venom and Carnage 2-pack, unless that leak was inaccurate, and they were just talking about this Carnage and the movie Venom. Because those two were released in these kind of boxes, but I'm not going to get the regular Venom because I already have one. But yeah, I mean, they did a really nice job on this thing. I mean, the paintwork is just, it's meh. It's Marvel Legends paintwork. So I might paint him up. But I mean, yeah, the sculpt is just great. I mean, they got every little bit of detail. It looks so good. And as you can see, they nailed it with this figure. And it's kind of rare for Hasbro to kind of, nail a figure. But for some reason, all their deluxe, releases have been really good. I mean, that Green Goblin was great. The Doc Ock was great. Even though Doc Ock had, some, small, design choices I didn't like, it was still great. And even this figure, man, this thing's great. Look at the holes through the hands. I mean, that's just cool, and I'm pretty sure that it is part of the design for Carnage in the movie, but it's just so cool. I do wish the holes, though, through those areas were kind of open, but I understand they, need to make it, stable. But, I mean, yeah, this thing is crazy. The articulation's nice. He does have a few problems, though, which I will get into in the articulation segment, but, I mean, yeah, it's just, they just nailed the sculpt all around on him. The sliminess, the musculature, even the feet are sculpted accurately. I mean, this figure honestly looks like a smaller version of the Hot Toys figure, which I do actually have the Hot Toys figure coming in, so I will do a video on that too. But yeah, I mean, this thing just looks really nice with these tendrils all around him on the legs here, and oh man, he's just perfect. Yeah, he has them all around on the arms, the legs. The only thing I don't like about this figure is the paint job on the body. It just looks very kind of sloppy. But yeah, as you can see, he does have pinless joints too. He's just he's perfect. Like, this is the perfect, like, Carnage figure. And, yeah, here's the whole paint job thing. Like, he's just not on the back either. But he does this, like, stitched up look of the back here. Like, you see right there, too. Like, it just looks like he's, like, barely holding together. It's just such a cool design. And I know it's not a lot of people's favorite Carnage, but honestly, I like the design. It's not bad. It's just a shame the movie was just kind of a little bit subpar. But let's just look at that head sculpt. And I mean, man, look at that. I think that Marvel Legends might have beat the figure arts version with this one. Because I mean, this is the perfect Carnage head sculpt. I mean, it's got the striations like on the mouth area there. It's got the accurate color, which is supposed to be black and everything, which Figure Arts did not do. Figure Arts had a very weird paint job. But, you know, not to say this one isn't weird either, but, I mean, as you can see there on the side of the head, the other side of the head, he has striations too as well. But, yeah, I mean, they just did a really, really nice job with this head. And, you know, from side to side, it just looks like movie Carnage. I mean, it's perfect. And this is definitely the head I'm going to be displaying with, because I just really do like this head. And I just don't see Carnage with the tongue, but that's just me. And just looking at him just, you know, head on, he just looks so menacing. And it's a perfect figure. And I don't know if it's showing up, but the eyes kind of have a slight pearlescent to them. It's very, very slight. And I don't even think it's showing up on my camera, so... but it is there. It just looks more white on camera right now. But, yeah, they really did nail the sculpt on this guy. And there's just a lot of very, very nice work done to this thing. And, you know, for the price isn't too bad. It's like, it's what you'd expect, but it's still... This thing is just an all-around amazing figure. He doesn't exactly like to stand... for the most part, just because he's so big, and those feet are just on the slight small side, not too small, but he just kind of doesn't like to stand. But there he is. I think it's about time we get into this guy's articulation already, because I mean, this articulation is just kind of crazy. So getting into the articulation, so there are going to be some problems with him, but it's just my copy of the figure, because there's a lot of stiffness. So when you do get yours, be sure to put it in some, hot water, just kind of loosen up those joints a little bit, because he will kind of be a little bit stiff, and there are a lot of issues that can come from that. So, first of all, starting with the head, he can look up pretty significantly far. I mean, that's not too bad for looking up. And then, of course, looking down, he can go pretty much all the way, because it is on that dumbbell joint, which is honestly probably one of their better dumbbell joints. And of course it does spin 360, and he can do some pretty decent side to side. So it's got very, very expressive head movement. As for the arms, there are no butterfly joints, but he does have arms that rotate all the way around, and it does hinge up pretty much about to there. He does have a bicep swivel. And, of course, he does have double-jointed elbows that are pinless, which is very, very great to see. I'm glad they're kind of getting rid of the pins. And he does have hinge and swivel at the wrist, but here's the problem. My hand on the left arm here is very stiff, so it will not hinge right now. And after this video, I'm going to have to heat it up and get it to actually move, because I tried to move it, and there's some stress marks, which I will show. But this one is completely fine for some reason. I have no idea why that is. It just does not want to bend, and I'm afraid of bending it, because taking off the hand here, I don't know if you can see that, but there are stress marks on that kind of peg right there, and I do not want to break this figure, because for one, he's not exactly cheap, and for two, it's Carnage, and I would not like to break this figure, because I really do like this thing. But anyway, as far as his torso goes, he does have a diaphragm joint that goes side to side, and of course, just all the way around. Can go forward about that far on it, and can go back pretty significantly far on it. But he does have an ab crunch too as well, so he can go back pretty much that far, and he can go forward pretty much that far. So he has a very good range of motion there. And you can use the diaphragm joint as kind of a waist swivel too as well. So you got that going on. As for the legs, they are not drop downs, but they can split about that far. And the leg can move up pretty much about that far. And back, not too much because of the butt. He does have a thigh swivel right there. Does double jointed pinless knees, like so. And as for the foot, it can go up pretty much about that far. And down pretty much about that far. And he does, of course, have ankle pivots. Now, I think his joints on the other leg are fine, but they might be stiff. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't exactly checked, but he may need heated up. So he's a pretty posable fella, but I think it's about time we get into his accessories. So here are all his accessories laid out, and let's take a look. So, out of the box, he does come with these kind of, just open, relaxed hands or claw hands or whatever you want to use them for, so they're pretty nice. And then, of course, for one of his other hand accessories, he comes with this kind of a right hand with this kind of blade coming out of his middle finger. It's sculpted very, very nice. The paint job, still sucks. Actually the worst one because it's only on one side. But you can kind of have him, flicking somebody off if you want. Has this very nice kind of hole detail in it, just to give it that kind of like depth. And it has very, very nice webbing here between the fingers too. I think that's actually pretty cool. And then, some very, very nice textures. Feels very slimy, very, very gross feeling. It's very rigid on the edges too as well, so it looks very like serrated, like how a blade would be, from him. And it's not too bad. The joint on this one too is also very stiff, and it's also stressing there too. So yeah, be careful with this figure. You'll have to definitely heat him up because there is a lot of just tight joints on here for some weird reason. But overall, I think this is a really, really nice accessory. And for his, kind of final hand accessory, he does get this very, very, very large blade. This thing is actually pretty large. It's almost the size of a figure, which is pretty crazy. But, as you could tell, it's very, very nicely painted. Well, I mean, not nicely, I mean, sloppily. But at least it is painted on both sides, unlike the other accessory for some reason. This thing is huge. Of course, it has the kind of hole detailing. Has very, very nice kind of like slimy detailing to it too as well. As you see, it just, very, very, very rigid angles to this. And, just that whole detail too as well as I'm talking about. And it's a very, very nice accessory, and it's huge. Like, this thing is, like, big. It's, like, it is, like, almost pretty much the size of a figure. This one's joint actually moves and is all good, so I mean, you don't have to worry about that one. I don't know why the other ones are tight though. This thing is just really, really, really nice. I do love all the kind of like symbiote detailing with all like the kind of veiny work, but yeah, it's pretty nice. And as far as heads go, he does just have this one other head, which is a open mouth with the tongue coming out. And it isn't too bad. I do kind of wish maybe they could have had it so you could maybe take the tongue out and plug it in or something. But yeah, it's sculpted very nice. The eyes have a different shape to them. They're more squinted. But I really do love this. I mean, look at how much depth you get with that. It's just a piece added on top of it, but it's just the striations on the jaw where the tendrils are attaching, and they have it on each side. It just gives so much depth to it, and it just looks really, really, really nice. And for some reason, the tongue is like very, very pink, but it's not too bad. But me personally, I don't like Carnage with teeth. As far as the teeth do go, they're coming across a bit yellow on camera for some reason, but they are white, so I don't know why that is. But it is a pretty decent head. It's not too bad. And just bringing in the other head he comes with here, both of these heads are really, really nice. But for some reason, the teeth are coming out yellow on this one. But as you can see, the striations, too, on both heads. Man, they did a really, really nice job with these head sculpts. Way better than figure arts, which is kind of crazy. At least sculpt-wise. And technically paint-wise, too. But I will probably be using this head for display, just because it feels more like Carnage than this head. I mean, even though they do both look like him, I just don't like Carnage with a tongue. That's just me personally. But yeah, I mean, these two heads are great. They're perfect. And I really absolutely do love the sculpt work and paint work on them. And I just really like that, just the level of detailing with the striations in it. But, of course, getting onto the eyes, you can kind of see the pearlescence now that I was talking about. Now that it's a little bit up close, but it's very, very slight. And you can't really see it. Now, here's the final accessories, which are, of course, his tendrils. Now, we'll just take a look at these individually here. They are painted up very... Well, they're not actually painted. I don't know why I said that. They are sculpted very nicely here. They are just, just red, but with no paint, which is fine, I guess. I don't know how they would be able to get paint on these things since it's a different type of material, but each end has a different kind of weapon on it, except for two of them. Two of them had the same thing, but as you can see, it's sculpted very, very nice, looks very slimy. And this one right here is got some spikiness to it, and it can swivel a little bit for whatever reason. I don't know why it does, but yeah, it does have some very, very nice detailing, and I like how there's some differences with these two as well. And they do have a bendy wire in them too as well, so this specific one had two of them on. And he does have another set of tendrils that have two, and they just, have this peg in the back there, which I'll show how to peg them on. But of course, you have this other kind of end piece, which has, like a club kind of look to it with all these like kind of spikes on it. Carnage is very well known for having a bunch of just wacky weapons, which I really do like, and they captured it pretty well with this figure. This one does have rotation too as well for some weird reason, even though I don't know why you would, but and of course the last tendril here is just a single one, and it's got this kind of like almost like serrated spear end to it, which looks really nice. I actually do quite like this one a lot, just because of its kind of like just serrated look. It just looks really, really nice, and I really do like this one. But yeah, I mean, there's just such nice detailing. There's like the striations and shit like that, and it's just really, really nice. And of course, these are bendy wired too as well, so you can bend them around. But yeah, the detailing on the slime work is just really, really good. But I will show you actually how to get the figure on with all these accessories and everything, and we'll take a closer look at them. So, bringing in the figure back in to frame, here's how you pretty much attach the hands. So you're just gonna, of course, just pop these hands off, and then we're going to bring in the kind of bladed kind of hands here. So this hand is designated for this specific arm, because obviously the placement of the thumb on the hand. So that this hand specifically goes on this arm. Kind of wish we got two of them, one for each arm. And then this kind of bigger bladed hand goes onto this arm. But the difference with the bigger bladed hand is you can actually use them on both arms, because there's no clear indication of which arm it goes on. But anyway, for the head, of course, you just pop off the one that was on it, and you just kind of pop on the other head here, which is a little tight, but yeah, then there you go. So you pretty much kind of have them kind of powered up just a little bit, but of course, he's missing something, so we got to put those tendrils on. So here we have the tendrils, and basically what you're going to do is just going to take the pegs here, and they're just going to peg into the back, like so. So we're just going to take this kind of singular one and put it at the bottom, which kind of makes just the most sense to put the singular one at the bottom. So you just kind of shove it on in there. It's going to be a little hard, but it should just pop in there. Maybe twist it just a little bit, not too much. Don't want to break it. But yeah, it just should pop right in there. I think it's in there. Not too sure how far it goes in. I guess that's about far. And then, of course, with the two kind of the tendrils that are, in twos, we're just going to kind of place them on the top two ports. I don't know which side I want to put this one on. I guess it really doesn't matter, but at the same time, I want it to still look good. So I think I want to place this one here onto his right, should be. So, of course, just take that peg right there, just stick it in the back. Maybe just use only a little bit of force, not too much, just to kind of try and get it in there. That one kind of popped in pretty easily. And then, of course, take the other one here, take the peg, and just peg it on in. If you can, just get it on in there, and it should just peg right on in. That one, was fighting me just a little bit. But yeah, there they are, and of course they do have bendy wire in them, so you can pose them around. So we're gonna kind of just pose them more towards the front to give them a better dynamic look than just kind of sticking out the back. And of course, there he is. Now this is maximum Carnage right here. This thing looks just amazing. Amazing with all these accessories on. He looks menacing, he looks perfect, and just bringing him on in here, man, this thing is just great. But of course, it makes him quite top heavy, so he's gonna fall over if he's not leaning up against something, or if you have him in a very more stable pose than this, because these tendrils are a little on the heavy side. They're pretty thick with the kind of rubber they use, or whatever type of softer plastic they've used. And of course, the big bladed hand, adds quite a bit of weight to it. But I mean, yeah, he looks really, really, really nice with this look going on, where it's just pretty much Carnage at his maximum, and it just looks perfect. And to be honest, it really does just look like the Hot Toys figure, but smaller, which I do like, and I am actually going to get that Hot Toys figure. But let's do a pose test. So I hope you enjoyed that pose test, get him all nice and looking good with his accessories. But now it's about time we take a look at the scale of this big fella. So when it does come down to scale, he's a pretty big figure, and he does like to fall over. So I'm going to have to bring this stand in so I can, get him just to stay straight up while we kind of scale him up next to some other figures. I really wish he would be able to stand on his own, but anyway, first figure, which I'm sure everyone wants to see, is the movie Venom from Marvel Legends. So I think this scale works, and even though that most people would see Carnage as smaller than Venom, unfortunately in the movie Carnage was bigger, which is a little weird to see, but I mean, sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, that is just this version of Carnage, but they do look good together. And now, as far as, other kind of comparisons here, of course, we have them next to the Tom Holland Final Swingsuit Spidey, just in case you wanted to kind of put these guys together on the shelf. And then, of course, next in line, we're going to bring out the Marvel Legends Toby. And they don't look too bad together. Me, personally, I probably won't be displaying them together all that much. Just because, it just doesn't make sense. But they don't look too bad together. And, of course, for some figure arts kind of comparisons, here he is next to the figure arts Toby Spidey from No Way Home, which I also did a review on if you would like to check that out. But, yeah, I mean, they don't look too bad together either. it's just Carnage is just really, really big. And I just feel like he just doesn't, scale well. I mean, he does. He's just too big. And, of course, here's the figure arts Carnage, which I intend to do a video on, but, I just haven't gotten to it because this one came out, and I wanted to get this one out first. This figure arts Carnage, he's okay, but now he's been beat by the Marvel Legends one. This Marvel Legends one is a lot skinnier and looks more like Carnage from the movie, while this figure arts one is just really buff and really bulky, and I don't know, those tendrils in the back too just don't do it for me. While the Marvel Legends one has a much more accurate, back tendrils and, of course, head sculpt and everything, and physique. This figure arts Carnage feels like it just kind of suffers from coming out before the movie didn't come out. But honestly, I think the figure arts one actually came out after the movie was out, but I don't know. The Marvel Legends one definitely does look a lot better and will look better once I do kind of paint him up. But, of course, let's get some other kind of Carnage comparisons out here. So, of course, here's my very old custom Marvel Legends Bagley Carnage from, his first appearance. And, of course, you can see, how much Carnage has evolved over the decades and years as a character. I still really do like the comic look of Carnage here. But the movie one has been growing on me quite a bit, which I do like, so that's how they scale next to each other. And then, of course, we'll bring in some Marvel Select stuff. So here's the Marvel Select Ultimate Carnage from a long time ago. This one does have, rubbery kind of tendrils off his body. I really do like this Carnage. This is, one of my favorite Carnage figures I have ever owned in my life. Just because I really do like the Ultimate comics, and I grew up with those. And that version of Carnage at the time was my go-to favorite Carnage. Aside from the, of course, the animated Carnage, but here is the other Diamond Select Bagley Carnage, which I also, quite like. And this Diamond Select Carnage is probably my other tallest Carnage I have. My only other tallest one, until I get the Hot Toys one. But, of course, this one has, tendrils on the back, too, as well. Just a little bit different. But yeah, this Marvel Legends Carnage is a pretty tall one, even taller still than the Diamond Select one. So let's get into final thoughts. So as for final thoughts on this figure, it's great. This thing is perfect. I definitely recommend it. The price, honestly, it's not that bad. I mean, we're all used to Hasbro's price hikes at this point, so why does it matter anymore? I know that kind of sounded depressing, but, that's just the way the world is now. The economy sucks, but I believe he was around, $40 to $50. I guess the only thing I could really, nitpick about is the lack of hand accessories. I feel like maybe we could have gotten one more sword and, one more kind of knife hand, for, one for each arm, and then it would be a perfect figure. It'd be great. Of course, there is a lack of paint on his back. But I don't think that detracts from the figure at all. I think it's perfect. It looks exactly like the movie. Definitely needs a paint job, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, he has great articulation. Joints were a little bit stiff, but of course that's going to need, obviously, heated up in order to move. The bendy wires are great. They're very nice. They do hold their shape and pose and everything, which is really, really great. All around, this figure is perfect, and I think it's a really nice addition to add to anybody's collection. It's definitely worth it. He's very big, too, which is nice. The sculpt work is perfect. The paint job could be better, but, it's Hasbro, so we got to leave it up to the collectors themselves and the customizers to paint it up, which I absolutely will, because this is a very nice figure, and it's going to be very fun to paint, too. But yeah, he can get into a lot of great poses that you want him to get into. Doesn't exactly stand up well with all the accessories on him, but, he does come with quite a bit of accessories, but, I just, wish he had those extra hands. Both head sculpts are great, very nice work, but yeah, I couldn't recommend this figure enough. It's very nice to pose this thing around. I'm glad I have it in my collection, and I'm sure, you can pick yours up too as well. on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm not sponsored, by the way, but of course I'm not. But yeah, you can pick yours up too as well today if you would like to. But that is pretty much it for this review. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.